to the Great British Mickey Waffle, and this is episode 97 for the 15th of October 2023. We're rapidly heading towards Ben and Becca's cheeky little extra trip. There's always a cheeky extra trip with you, Ben. And we are so pleased that we're going to be able to chat to a friend who has just returned from his trip. So you can make sure that all the latest information is available and shared with us and all of you listening. So Ben, welcome. Have you packed yet?
I think Becca's been writing a packing list today, so we're nearly there.
How many days? How many days at the point of recording?
20.
Oh, that's ages.
Less than 3 weeks.
That's
So
loads of time. You can
Yep.
pack and repack and take all the stuff. You're only going a week, aren't you?
yeah, just over a week.
How many bags
So-
are you taking?
2, 1 each. So it's not hand luggage only.
But you have a car, so you can shove everything.
We have a car. We have the first time we are hiring a car.
This is it.
So,
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Be interesting.
Yeah,
We are
first
going to be
time.
having a conversation about driving rules in the US at some point before you go.
Definitely.
And I'll be able to tell everyone how good it is to drive a Tesla in Orlando.
We had a Tesla as an Uber at some point. It was very cool.
Yeah.
You'll just want to buy one when you get home then. That's
Oh, I know. Yeah. Doesn't happen with most hire cars though.
No, because some of them are really not great.
No.
Some of them, you put your foot down and nothing happens. 6-litre engine, but it moves off at the size, say, the speed of an asthmatic slug carrying heavy shopping. And you've heard him already, John. Welcome to have you. That sounds really wrong.
I'm saying nothing.
To the
I'm
show.
saying nothing.
Thank you for
My
being
goodness.
here.
Here we
It's
go.
great to have you here.
Hey, it's
is what I
great
meant
to
to
be
say.
here. Is what I'm going to say in return.
I'm going to get Ben
But
to
yeah.
leave that in because I'm such a professional at this.
That was good.
It is good to see you guys.
Yeah, it is. It's exactly
Been busy
what...
weekend.
It's just
We're
what you need.
recording-
Middle of October, by the time this goes out, you just want that little bit of magic, and you want it to come back to you because, you just think about what a miserable month October becomes. So if you will listen to the first of the month show, and you actually have listened to us getting out your pumpkin, that getting out your pumpkins bit has really kind of seen us through 2 weeks. So we now need that little bit of a boost to actually see us across the line towards Halloween. So,
Do you know what though? I've had a little boost this weekend because I've been watching things on the old TikTok, and I found the most incredible channel which has got old vintage 80s and 90s TV theme opening credits. And the first one that came on was Wish You Were Here with Judith Chalmers.
Oh,
And I was
wow.
like, that's amazing. I remember that so clearly. And I sent it to about 100 people. But do you remember this? And that made me smile. So
you might have sent it to me,
There are
Claire,
things
but
that
I've
get
not
you
even
through.
got as far as social media this weekend. It's just like it's been one of them,
There you are. Anyway, if you're tuning in for the first time today, welcome. It's not always like this.
It is. It
After
is. And
97
it's,
episodes, we are
and it's a
professional.
giggle.
Yeah,
It's a giggle.
we are really glad to have you here, and do listen back to our previous shows. We would also love to see you every Wednesday on our YouTube channel for live Wafflers Wednesday. That happens at 8:30 UK time, 3:30 Eastern, where we try, I say that in the loosest sense of the word, to keep to one selected topic for a whole hour and a bit usually, and we love interacting with our friends in the chat who join us. So do join us for Wafflers Wednesday if you want to have a bit of a giggle, because that tends to be how it ends up. One such friend, look at this amazing
Hey, look at
segue.
this, that
One
is
such friend who joins us in the
seamless.
chat through through rain or shine on a Wednesday evening, and possibly some snow coming up in the winter, and always full of opinions, Sean has just returned from 2 weeks in Orlando, where he downgraded to a value resort for the first time. And I personally am really looking forward to the justification for that, because I'm not sure there is any. Sean, welcome to the Great British Mickey Waffle.
Hi. I just need to say that I'm quite new to the Great British Mickey Waffle, and I've binged a lot of your stuff over the last few months.
I'm so sorry.
Just to kind of disagree with what you said there. It pretty much is always like this, and I don't think you guys have ever managed to stay on a topic on a Wednesday on like one singular topic, but most of that is due to the people in chat, so I won't say too much about it.
Well, we are really glad. We're really glad you're here. We're also grateful and really happy to have you there in the chat on a Wednesday. Yeah. We know that you interact with a lot of the other people in the community, and it's going to be so much fun to talk to you tonight. So we're looking forward to finding out about your trip. But first, now Sean, as you said, I'm aware that you haven't been with us all that long. And you haven't been with us for all 4 of our years, nearly 4 years. But it's 4 years, nearly 100 episodes. Yeah. So you may have missed out on something that we used to do. And I thought, we used to do this with all of our guests. So tonight, for one night only, I have decided to dredge out of room 101, the infamous, I'm trying to think of the words they use in the Jungle Cruise, and I can't remember. The one and only Great British Mickey Waffle Carousel of Questions. Dun, dun, dun. We need some
I
music.
Like it's we're putting it at the same level as the backside of water.
I know.
Yeah.
It is. But we can't shout out the we can't shout out the what do you call it when it
the first letter of each one.
What's it called? The
COQ?
Yeah, you can't shout that out because it sounds rude. H2O, yes.
Not if you're French.
Right.
Not if you're French. The French used to have a sports manufacturer with the same.
Le Coq Sportif.
Sportif.
Yes, I remember that.
Right, and actually, if my wife ever listens to this show, it is the one thing you can say, because I have worn sportswear by that company in the past, and it always makes her. If you thought I was infantile in my giggling at inappropriate times, you only have to mention Le Coq Sportif, and that is it. It's just like she's gone.
I think we're on the tone that we're going to stay on for this show potentially. Right. Here we go. Carousel of Questions. Sean, have you listened to the Carousel of Questions at any point?
I have.
He probably has, and he didn't take notes, and he's now wishing I'd taken notes and thought, there we go, I could answer that a different way. Sean, go with your heart, don't overthink it, and when you wake up in the morning, all your answers you want to change, and that's it. So just go with it.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those things where you hear other people do it and think, oh, how could you say that? But then when you're actually asked it, God knows what I'm going to come out with.
Don't worry about it. Don't overthink it. Right, question 1. What's your favourite park?
Epcot.
Okay, a ride that you hate.
Small World.
Even the little hula dancer.
Controversial from the start. That's what I like.
I got stuck right on the middle of it for a prolonged period of time once, and it just kept going on and on and on.
Yeah.
They didn't even turn the music off to give like that small mercy.
Yeah. Same happened to Ben and
But then,
Becca.
Ben, you've been on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're the one in Disneyland Paris. Got stuck on it.
Yeah.
And then we had all the safety announcements in different languages.
And then they did turn the music off, and all you heard was the dolls clicking.
Yep.
That would be even worse, actually. Now that I think
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. So the music might be better.
It becomes quite macabre.
Okay. Question 3. What do you think is the most overrated snack?
The pretzel, Mickey pretzel. Could not stand that. I thought it was horrendous.
Wow. I don't think anyone said the Mickey pretzel before. I think
No.
like, the Mickey Premium Bar used to come out pretty high.
I think because
up
everyone
yours.
compared that to a choc ice.
Yeah, right.
To be fair,
Iceland, 10 for a pound.
yeah, what it is, basically. I had never had a churro till this trip, so I think I'd built it up into my head that it was going to be this amazing, like, soft, nice, kind of salty snack. And then when I got it, it had like a green hue to it. So I'm not sure if it was just the one that I got from Hollywood Studios.
I remember you posting that on your
Yeah.
socials, and I was thinking, oh my word,
Yeah,
I
that
can
doesn't
never
sound right.
remember it having that green hue to it. And
Even at Halloween, I don't
Where in
remember
Hollywood
having...
Studios did you get it? Was it just outside Toy Story Land?
I think so.
Because
I
we
think
got
so.
one that was off from there a few years ago.
Oh.
And
Really?
a friend got one.
Oh.
And we both had one. One of ours was okay. The other one was a bit green and a bit. It shouldn't have been sold.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, there we are. Maybe you need to give it another go.
yeah,
Don't you wish that Ben had told you that before you went? If you're
Yeah.
going to have a pretzel, don't
Pretzel.
buy it in Toys.
Yeah.
It's like Toy
Yeah.
Story then.
To be fair, I got halfway through and then held it up into the air and said, "Does this look green to you?"
And if you're listening
always
to
the
the
way.
show
Yeah.
whilst having your lunch, we do apologise.
Absolutely.
Do you, mate?
Go on, John.
I'm going to move it on
Also,
very
as
quickly.
safety,
It might, yeah, it could be, yeah. Safety warning, Sean. I think that's it. You'll be able to warn everybody. Right, next question. What's your favourite transportation mode at Walt Disney World?
does the people mover count?
It
Even though
certainly
drops off at the
does.
same place.
It does.
Yeah,
It does.
I think we're fair
you
with
get
that.
you get bonus points for the people mover. Just saying, like.
yeah.
If that counts, I would go with that. If not,
Excellent.
I love the ferry transportation from Springs to Port Orleans and Saratoga and Old Key West. That's number 2.
What is your favourite table service restaurant
From this trip or in
in
Ever.
general?
Actually,
Any.
it's the same answer, and this is the one that's different. House of Blues in Disney Springs.
Ooh.
Oh,
Really?
yeah, good call.
Love
interesting.
that restaurant. Love that restaurant.
We had a very suspect meal there in August.
When they served you green pretzels, Claire.
No, they weren't. I think because I don't eat meat, it was a challenging menu for me. Perhaps it wasn't my choice to go there, and but it was. We got sat out the back in the dark, dingy bit, and the tables were all like different heights, and there was like 3 tables put together, and it was like the person who was on the
Yeah.
my brother was
yeah.
on the like
That's
the,
not a good.
the
That's not a good feeling, is it?
no
Yeah.
man's land in the middle, and his plate was like rocking from side to
Oh,
side.
no.
It wasn't the best.
It was perfect for me, but that could have something to do with the cocktails too. So
Oh well, there you are.
It
There's
kind
nothing
of
wrong with the
is.
cocktails.
they
Improves
were
every meal.
strong.
Oh my goodness, I remember. Did you have the hurricane?
Yes,
Yeah, I've had that there
literally.
before.
That is what I had, and I had about 3 or 4 of them, and they were like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you take the glass, the souvenir glass?
I
I
did
have one
not
of them.
because I didn't want to carry it.
Oh, good thinking. Anyway, next question. Resort that you haven't stayed at, but you want to more than anything else on earth.
Oh, that is hard. Contemporary. I would love to stay at the Contemporary and have Magic Kingdom within walking distance. That is the stuff of dreams.
This is
Do you know something? We should actually, because these questions are absolutely ace, aren't they? So,
who wrote these questions? They're brilliant.
They are just like stunning.
Not sure who
I've-
did this, Claire.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
No, I have no
They
idea.
were
either.
clearly a genius.
Yeah, but I've been the one allotted the question, Sean, that most people,
Yeah.
even one of our previous presenters, kind of stumbled across. So we will give you a moment to answer it in the way it deserves to be answered. So, what's your favourite car park?
Well, as somebody that doesn't drive and has never
There you go.
driven,
Even better. Even better.
my favourite car park is probably the one at the airport when I get dropped off to fly.
Yeah.
At this side of things.
Good answer.
That's a good answer. I like that.
I've just remembered all the answers we've had to that, and some of them were barely broadcastable.
Oh, I should have said Hollywood Studios because it's been in like the news constantly that the tram's back. So I feel like I've been there,
that's
even
true.
though.
Yeah.
And actually, weirdly, that's a car park that does that and Epcot. They don't need the tram.
No.
It's perfectly walkable.
It depends though,
I think
Claire,
Magic
because some
Kingdom
people
needed the
don't
tram,
like
but-
to walk.
Yeah, if you've got mobility issues, I suppose. Yeah.
Is it weird? I'm just I'm excited to go on the trams. Never been on one before.
Oh, there you go, Ben. There you go.
Well,
I've
We've never
thought-
hired a car.
There's no
so
reason to, I think.
Something.
Oh, Ben, you're going to get that
Oh, Ben, you
feeling.
need to write a list of all the things you've never
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Like the basics.
That
Basic
feeling.
Ben and Becca's basic trip. This is going to be it. I'm looking forward to the car parks, the trams.
But
All Star Sports.
Claire,
You don't even have to do the fuel. You don't even have to fill up with fuel because you're in a blooming Tesla.
I know.
but can you still get the thought in the car, can't you, Claire? You know, as the two of them arrive, Epcot or Animal Kingdom in particular, you know, as you get in there, you know,
Oh,
it's nice
first thing
and
in the
quiet.
morning, round that
all
corner.
the way down to the end of the line. Go up, all
Keep
the way
going.
down. So,
Keep going.
all the way.
Keep
You
going
clo-
all the way to the 192 and then you can park.
and you realise you'd
And
probably
then,
be
as you-
quicker walking.
Yeah.
Ben, as you drive into Animal Kingdom, that first right-hand bend as you come round is sharper than it looks. Just saying.
Okay.
Don't take it quickly.
Yeah.
You're speaking
John
from
knows
experience.
exactly what. Yeah, John knows exactly what I'm talking about.
I had no idea. I had no idea at all how big those car parks were until I went on the Skyline at this time and went over them and thought, oh my gosh, no wonder there was a 40-minute wait to ride Figment with so many people in that park right now.
Yeah. They are huge when they're full on. When you see the Magic Kingdom parking lot, villains and heroes full, wow, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh well, Ben, good luck with that one.
Okay, the next question. Typhoon, Blizzard, or Volcano Bay?
I have not done Volcano Bay yet, so that's out. Is it Typhoon Lagoon that's open right now? It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll go Typhoon Lagoon. I'm terrible with names, but I really enjoyed that water park. This trip's the first time I rode any water slides whatsoever. I've always just said no. But I did them this trip, and I absolutely loved them and had the time of my life.
Amazing.
Wonderful.
I love Typhoon Lagoon just for the music. It's fun.
Yeah.
Those waves are serious waves though in the wave pool.
They are, and I always feel like you come out of that wave pool with like cuts and bruises and different
Scratches
places
and
that
everything,
you didn't actually feel hurting at the time.
It's brutal.
Yep.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, next question. Galaxy's Edge or Diagon Alley?
Diagon Alley.
Oh, there was not even a
No
There's
hesitation.
no
pause for
hesitation.
breath.
None at all. I've seen the Star Wars films, but I watched them like once, a long time ago. So I went into Star Wars Land this time, and I thought, yeah, it's pretty much what I thought it was going to be. And then I went again. I think it might be that thing, but the opposite to the pretzel, where I had kind of low expectations for Universal because I hadn't really looked at anything to do with it. But then went to the parks this time for the first time and was just totally in awe of Diagon Alley, totally in awe. And that little alleyway, like the Nocturne Alley part, absolutely gorgeous when it's boiling hot.
It's really good there, isn't it?
Oh, amazing.
Spot on. Right, here we go. This is the crunch question. Are you an early morning or a late night park preferred visit?
Oh, that is so hard because I'm both with a big break in the middle.
Yeah.
I love both with like a 3-4 hour break in the middle from 12 to 3, 12 to 4 back at the resort. I love getting out for really early on, doing those first couple of hours where you do kind of I do the opposite to everyone else. I don't do many of the big attractions in the morning because I think you wind up waiting longer because it's what everybody does. So I like knocking out all of the mid-range attractions, I'll say, in the morning, and then coming back and doing the bigger ones when everyone else is having lunch.
That's a good strategy.
Yeah.
I like that.
You've thought about that?
Oh, I've spent a lot of time thinking about that. A lot. So many months, so many years while I was building up for this trip, studying my Disney experience, just looking at the time difference and going, okay, so it's 1 o'clock in Orlando now, and the wait time for test track is 90 minutes.
It's really
Dashboard built at home and everything.
it's really funny though, Sean. We still play a game with the kids. Like, we've not been for a few years at the minute, but we still play the game either in the car or when we're out and about. It's like, guess what the wait time is, and it's just like it becomes part and parcel of your everyday existence. Of like, oh, let's see how busy the parks are today. How long do you think the queue for the Jungle Cruise is? And you're like, you go, half an hour. No, it's 40 minutes. Oh well, have a look. What's test track? And you keep going and things like that. Yeah.
Test track's closed. There's lightning.
Yeah. Anyone who's listening, you want to sort of really hype up the Disney feeling with people that you've shared a trip with. It might come across as being really nerdy, but actually, once you start doing this, it becomes it's as compulsive as doing Wordle and things like that. It's just becomes part of your everyday work.
You see a 20-minute queue for Rise of Resistance. It's like, why am I not there?
Get me to the airport.
Yeah.
Do you know, though, it's really helpful when planning a trip, because I had no idea that the first 2 weeks of May are as quiet as they are until I checked the wait times in May and thought, oh, next time I go, it's going to be either May or the first 2 weeks of December. And I know that from literally years of research on that app.
Yeah. No, don't tell everyone. They'll all be going at that time. Just keep it to yourself.
Okay, so next question is, keep the magic or backstage detail?
Backstage detail. Yeah, you can't. You want to avoid it. You feel like it's going to have like that spoiler effect of seeing things that you shouldn't see, but you'll always give in to the kind of temptation to know how everything works.
Yeah. I've been known to look up on the YouTube in the queue for things. How does X and Y work? Like, where are the secret spots to hit on Buzz Lightyear to get all the points?
That reminds me, Claire, thank you. I need to remember that. Yeah.
Oh, without question. And Millie wants to know as well. She's like, Mummy, where do I hit? And we didn't tell Dan and Morgan that they were aiming for the wrong place on Zorg. And so it's different at Disneyland Paris than it is in Orlando. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I think it's easier at Disneyland Paris. You can see where you're shooting better. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah. And the thing moves. The gun moves rather than being stuck. But, we'll get there eventually.
I just cannot do that ride. Is this the bus ride in Magic Kingdom? Oh, horrific. Same with the Midway Mania in Hollywood Studios. Then it's the first time it's happened, I got number one in the entire carriage, and I was so overly happy with myself and turned around and saw two toddlers behind me that were in the...
Is you're giving it?
Hold on.
Oh, that's so funny.
Tongue out. I didn't care. I still did them. I don't care if they were in single digits.
Go out
we are
number one. I'm number one.
Yeah.
Like that to everyone. Number one. I hope you did.
Serves them. I totally did. Serves them right for screaming all the way through that queue.
We are mega competitive on that ride. I always ride with Morgan, and we always have to ride it at least 3 times to get best of 3. And this time when we were there, Morgan won the first one. the second time we rode, I won, but on the end of the third game, we were exactly the same on points, like literally the same. And then the second one I won, third one he won. So he won overall in the series, but there was only about 200 or 300 points in it each time. It was so close.
Tell you what, Claire,
It was
over nigh on 97 shows, right? I think that's the first time you admitted that Morgan beat you.
It's only because I know he listens, and he would have,
Well done, Morgan.
He beat-
There we
he
go.
beat
Look
me-
at that. Look at the
he beat me
progress.
twice.
Look at that
Not by very
progress.
much.
It's only
Not by
taken
much.
97 shows. It's taken that for Claire to actually admit that she actually got beat. I'm quite taken by that.
It was really close, and it was serious competition. There's no messing about. There's no time for fun when you're riding Toy Story Mania.
I think we need a league table. Maybe in the Wafflers Arms.
That'd be so good. Okay, yeah, we'll do that. We'll put a league table in.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I've
Right,
got a
next
family
question,
member
Sean.
who'll be at the top of it. That's the other problem as well. So, yeah. It's not me. Anyway,
Sean,
cool.
your favourite other podcast or vlogger about Disney?
Oh, that's really hard, actually. There's a vlogger that does videos specifically about Genie Plus called ES Scouts, who are very good for telling you every kind of tip that there is out there about Genie Plus. He talks about playing the Genie Plus slots when you get a time that's 3 hours in advance, and to keep flicking down, like to modify and then keep flipping down, and you can often get it brought forward. He is amazing, fantastic.
I have never heard of him. I'm going to go and find it for my next
I'm
trip.
making a
he's
note
so
for
good as well.
future
Like,
trips
he keeps
because
it.
that would be really useful.
Right.
Yeah, and that's a good
Yeah.
thing
It
about
is
this,
so
Sean,
good.
as well. It's actually not being, I think a lot of the time, a lot of people, myself included, you become sort of addicted to just one or two vlogs and one or two people that you're actually watching or listening. But the wider you go and the more you expand your planning range, you get loads and loads of information off people who are a little bit better at going and finding out the answers because they live out there, which is always an advantage. But yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
What I've found being really obsessed with running up to this trip actually is not so much any of the big vloggers. It's more just random people's travel day vlogs. I cannot get enough of watching those. Just the excitement, all of that kind of thing. I absolutely love it.
I love a travel day.
I don't see the fascination. I know lots of people love it. I'm like, it's weird.
Yeah.
Not.
Probably now that I don't have a trip booked, I'd probably watch it and be like, oh, like, not the same now that I'm not going to.
I like watching people riding things like Popeye and Bluto's Build-Rat barges.
Yeah.
I like just going onto YouTube and finding video after video after video of that, and that keeps me going.
Well, Claire,
having a bad day.
the one that you shared of you and Morg.
Yeah, and Millie. Yeah, we got. That can go. Is that on our YouTube channel yet?
It might be. Might be soon.
Everyone else can laugh at us, or at us. Yeah, it's fun. John, you got the last question.
Last question. I actually think this might lead us seamlessly on for the rest of the show. So here you go, Sean. On-site or off-site?
I have never stayed off-site yet, so I'll go on-site for that reason.
Yeah, I thought that'd be the case. Yeah, hence the reason Claire wrote these. I think there's only Claire and I who ever stay off-site and things like that.
But wow, that was a bit of a throwback.
So I
Carousel
think
questions.
there's one question missing, actually. The one that was
no,
quite
you're right.
controversial. So, what was it? Lion King show, Festival of the Lion King, or Finding Nemo, the musical?
Festival of the Lion King.
Yeah.
I love Festival of the Lion King.
I have to say, the new Finding Nemo the musical is great, but it is shorter and they've cut out some of the stuff.
And I think I really enjoyed Nemo this time. Didn't like it as much last time. It's been a lot of years since I saw it, but I can remember being incredibly uncomfortable on those benches and it feeling like it went on for quite a while because of that. I enjoyed it a lot more this time, actually. So, big fan of it. I didn't even realise they'd cut things, but that explains that.
Yeah.
There you go.
They're both amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, look at that. I didn't get any reaction there, Claire. I hope you noticed. That's how much I've learned in 97 episodes. You know,
you didn't need to react. I felt it through the screen. Through the screen, I felt it.
I'm on the phone to Katie right now.
I know. Ben, I tried to work out how long it is since we last did the carousel questions. I think it's a couple of years.
I think it must be.
And it was fun. I'm glad we churned them out.
That was good, that.
It's good.
I think we might revisit them as a team for our 100th. Because I would be surprised if a lot of our answers have changed.
Yeah, maybe so.
I think so much has changed since we first started.
Cheeseburger spring rolls might
ago.
be in there.
I mean, two of mine have changed since about 10 minutes ago.
I wonder if I'll have a favourite car park by then.
Yeah, that's it. That's what we should do.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sean, let's talk about your trip. So you went for 2 weeks.
Yep.
And you went to Disney parks and to Universal, as you just mentioned a moment ago, which was the first time you've been to Universal. Is that the first time you've ever been to Universal?
Yeah, first time ever. I had
Amazing.
never even seen the big sign or anything like that. I'd never been to City Walk, nothing.
Okay, so give us a bit of an outline of how your trip looked. Where did you stay, and how many days did you do sort of in different places?
So there was a lot different about this trip to all previous trips, essentially. It was the first time, and this is going to be very specific to the UK audience who know what I'm talking about here, but I flew from Newcastle Airport instead of Manchester, which I normally fly from. And I flew with a travel agent called TUI who fly into Melbourne International Airport now in Orlando, so quite a while out from Disney. I stayed on site at Disney's All-Star Music Resort, and it was my first time in an All-Star resort. I've stayed in a number of different resorts, previously on DVC, so stayed in Saratoga a couple of times, Boardwalk, Yacht Club, Beach Club, stayed in, God, I can't even remember, but I've stayed in a lot of resorts. So it was very different to every previous trip, and did a lot more like half days this time too. A lot more mornings and then evening shifts.
That's cool. It sounds like it was quite different. And how long has it been between your last trip and this trip?
So 2019 was the last time before now. So it's
okay,
quite
so pre-COVID.
A long time.
So quite a lot has changed.
Yeah. Absolutely. Everything has changed. Everything has changed. There's no fast pass anymore. Who knew about that?
Yeah.
Still sad about that. Yeah. But attractions have changed, and the way of... Did you feel the parks felt different? Because I think the first time I went back after COVID, it felt really different. Did you pick that up, or did it just feel like being home?
It was so strange because for the first 5 days, maybe, I would say my first full day in each park, I didn't notice any difference whatsoever. I was just totally in awe, and we were walking down Main Street and I could feel myself choking up, and even before I got there, actually just waiting to go through the turnstiles and do the finger press. When I heard the music, that was when I really started. Actually, it was probably before that even. It was probably when we were walking onto the bus. It felt emotional, it felt magical. One of the things that took me by surprise is there was a lot of rides that have been changed that I didn't realise had been changed. And really little things, like there's additional scenes in Mickey's PhilharMagic now that didn't used to be there. And I had not seen anything about that. I can't remember reading anything about that. Mm-hmm. And it caught me really off guard. And I sat there with my partner who has not been to Disney for about 15 years. And I kept nudging him all the way, going,
oh,
this is new,
yeah.
this is different.
Shut up, Sean!
And the really bad thing, which might have seemed off to people around, is nudging them and going, make sure you sniff up on this next part, and make sure you inhale.
I love PhilharMagic, I really do.
Oh, it's
And
wonderful.
actually, the new cocoa bits are incredible.
I just love that they've kept it. Just flows so well. I was worried when they said they were going to do something different with it, that it was like, okay, how is this going to fit? Is it going to just feel so new and so out of place with animation side of it? But no, they've done it really well.
Yeah, I think it's a great attraction. It's underrated.
It is one of my. It's not one. Well, it kind of is one of my favourites.
Yeah.
It's my favourite ride to go to, where you know that you aren't going to have to wait for a long period of time.
Yeah. And you're going to be comfy. The seats are relatively comfy. You're going to be able to be there for 15, 20 minutes. If it's raining, it's
air conditioning.
Right.
Totally.
So let's talk about the hotel. So you say the All-Star
Music.
Sport? All-Star Music. Which building were you in?
We were in the Rock Inn,
Okay.
which is towards the back. The very back of All-Star Music is Country Fair. I love that section, by the way. It is so cool. In front of Country Fair is the Rock Inn on one side and Broadway on the other.
Yeah.
Really love the Rock Inn section. It is super quiet. You do not get any noise from any groups of kids or anything like that.
That's good.
Really good area to stay. I think people get caught up with the preferred rooms in these resorts because I think it's going to be miles to walk to fill up your mug and that sort of thing. I would say in the All-Star resorts, it really, unless you have mobility issues, it doesn't make much difference for preferred rooms. That kind of comes more into play at moderate resorts, probably, more than anything else. So save the money and just go for the rooms that
Take an extra 50 steps.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
And it pays off in the quietness by huge amounts.
Yeah, and I think the price difference is actually quite significant. You know, when you start adding per night price difference, you've got to really be able to get something worthwhile for that money to make to make the preferred room worthwhile. You know, as you say, if you've got mobility issues, that might be a persuader. But if you haven't, then that sounds like a really good tip. Actually, I've never even set foot in a Red Valley resort, so I can't tell you whether I have an opinion or not.
I was just, I've been waiting for that moment
music.
all the way through this. I'm just waiting. Claire wears this as a badge of honour. It's a badge of honour.
No, do you know what? I would love to go and have a walk round one of the Valley resorts and maybe.
I thought you were going to say you'd like to stay there.
We need to vote Wafflers answer. But Claire's next trip, should she book stay at All-Star or one of the Valley resorts?
Just
I am
even for a
staying
night.
at moderate.
Even for one night. Even for one night.
Why would you do it? Why would
You know, I can tell you why you would do it. And I'll say this right now. If you take away the geography aspect of being further from the park and not being able to walk to a theme park, that's something that's amazing. If you take away that, I would stay in Pop Century over Yacht Club.
Really?
I would, every time I would stay in Pop Century over Yacht Club. I love.
I hear nothing but good things about Pop, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Ben, you stayed there, didn't you?
No, we did All-Star Music. We've done All-Star Music a few times. So this is our next trip is the only one we're doing All-Star Sports. But the reason why we chose All-Star Music was because they've now had the room refurbishment like Pop has. So you've got the similar layout of the rooms, the same. It's a lot better value resort now than what it was in 2015 when we stayed there in the old style rooms.
Yeah,
that's good. I mean, I think that the value resorts really are extremely good quality compared. When you're talking about the extra value that you get from a moderate or even a deluxe resort, it's about all the other stuff. It's not the room.
Yeah.
You know, it's not necessarily the towels. It's not the the H2O products. You get them everywhere. So it's about what else is going on at the resort. Yeah. And if that's not necessarily of interest to you, then why spend the money? I get that completely.
I think as well, it's that difference between being able to go and not being able to go. And I quite often, certainly for a lot of people listening to this, it's like you are in that hotel room for such a short period of a day. that actually, if you pay the extra money, we've come away a few times from being on site and stayed somewhere really nice, and you come back home and you're thinking, actually, that was the worst value that we've had, because we weren't on site, we weren't in the hotel, we didn't use the pool, because we were in the parks and we were making full use of the ticket that we've actually got. And that's the difference. It's basically somewhere to crash out at the end of the day, and then you wake up dead early the following morning and you go again. And I think that's perhaps a key thing for people who are planning and following Sean's fantastic example is, it doesn't matter. The bigger scheme of things, particularly coming from the UK, is actually having that ability to actually get a countdown and to actually know that you're actually going in the first place. That's most important.
It's working out what sort of holiday you want, because we've done ones like our one in June. It was more of a relaxed trip. Yes, we stayed at places like Animal Kingdom, Lodge, Grand Floridian. We spent the DVC points, so we wanted to make more use of the resorts. So we spent less time in the parks.
Yeah.
And more at the resort, where when we went over Christmas, we were at All Star Music, and I don't think we slept very much that week. We were in the parks all the time, especially as it was cold, it was quiet, so we made the most of that. So it's trying to work out what sort of holiday that you're looking for when you're booking.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I totally agree with that. And I think even taking into consideration things like how often you're going to be eating at the resort and what kind of eating you want to do. So with value resorts, one of the trade-offs is that you don't have a sit-down restaurant. You just won't find a sit-down table service restaurant at a value resort. But what you probably have is some of the best food courts on property. And I can truly say that every meal I had in the food court at All Star Music, and I had a lot, pretty much breakfast there each morning, and a couple of dinners I really enjoyed. It was really good, and I think it's because of the volume they have of people coming through. Everything tastes quite fresh compared to some other places. Was really happy with that.
Yeah, that's a good thought. I suppose they have a lot of people to feed, and it's coming through at peak times. So if you're going to eat, you're going to get fresh food. It's going to be cooked then and there because of the number of people. So that's another good tip. We are full of them tonight.
Coming thick and fast.
So you stayed at All Star Music. How did you get around? Did you use the buses? Did you have a car? You said you didn't have a car earlier. Did you use Uber or Lyft at all?
We used Uber for Universal. We Ubered there each time I went. Other than that, relied on the Disney buses, and also, which is a really good note, I feel like they have improved a lot since the last time I went, actually.
Really?
There was only one trip this time where I had to actually stand on the bus, even at closing. Everything else
really good.
was coming really regular. All Star Music's quite a busy resort, so you tend to find that it's got quite big lines at closing. The one time we were there from Magic Kingdom, as the bus filled up, there was literally another bus there to take its place, and it worked really well. The only issue we had with bus transportation was actually to Disney Springs, and that was a pain. And this is actually a good point to make about the value resorts in terms of the downside. I'm not exaggerating when I say it's about 62 miles from leaving the park to walk into the stand where the bus picks up from for value resorts. But Disney Springs, you have to walk all the way around, and you're practically at the resorts that are off-site before you hit the bus stop for the All Stars.
Oh gosh, are they right at the back of that bus lot?
Oh, they are. Like the first time when we went to get the bus, we practically ran because we saw one had pulled in just as we left Disney Springs. The second time, we just looked at each other and thought, oh, we'll probably miss 2 more buses before we make it around there anyways. Like, don't rush, it takes a while.
That's good. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And in terms of getting around, so you got Ubers up to Universal. How many days did you go up to Universal?
We originally planned 1 day at Universal, and we're going to try and hit both parks in that one day. I thought it would be quite easy with the Hogwarts Express, and didn't realise before I went how easy it is just to walk from one to the other anyways. We wound up there for 3 days though.
Okay, well that's a bit of a difference.
you get some drivers that just don't say anything to you, and
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with that if that's the way. If that's what you prefer, I'm good with that. You get some that are chatty. I'm also good with that. Nobody was. No, I was kind of dubious of Uber because I think you see on the Facebook group sometimes people talking about getting scammed and things like that.
Yeah.
Really important to remember. I think that those things are incredibly rare. Like it rarely happens. It's just one of those things that if it happens to you, you're probably going to talk about it as much as you can.
Yeah. Did you find that costs changed, Sean? I'm just doing this purely from a selfish planning point of view, because if you go in early morning or you go in maybe at park closing, were you hit by sort of surge pricing, or was it always kind of round about the same amount? Because obviously it's a popular place for people to get picked up and dropped off.
Before this trip, I had only ever used Mia's, and I'd never used Uber before.
Yeah.
So when you go from Mia's to Uber, you notice there was a big drop in the charge compared to even 6 years ago when I used it.
Yeah.
Really?
I used Uber once. I think it was 2014 as the last time I actually travelled off-site before this trip, and it was to go to another theme park that people get kind of flustered about these days. And I think that cost about $40 back then.
Oh,
it was a lot more money than the $25 it costs to get to Universal now via Uber.
Right.
When it was really busy, the most it went up to for me was $33, and that was literally at closing.
The most expensive Uber we've ever had is more at airports than actually at Disney.
Yeah.
We landed late on Christmas Eve, and it went up from 40 once we sort of got through into the terminal, and then it went up to 80 when we just weren't ready to. But then we just waited 5 minutes and it went back down. It is surge pricing.
Yeah.
But I had a look the other day. We've done 60 trips using Uber and Lyft, and we've only ever had one issue. And that was just they went the wrong way. We had 2 cars which going to the same destination from the same place, and just one cost $15 more because they went a completely different route.
Okay.
But
it's not the end of the world, is it?
No, it was quick to message them with their support, and they said, we can see what's happened. They've decided to take you on a different route. That's okay. We give you the money back.
That's good. That is really good, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, good stuff.
I think we used Uber and Lyft for the first time on our trip in the summer. Yeah. It's not something that we've ever done before. And I was pleasantly surprised at how efficient and easy it was. And actually, when there was a bit surge pricing on Uber one evening, I went on to Lyft and got a much better much better deal.
Yeah.
And quicker.
Yeah.
We couldn't get an Uber driver at one point because we were at Disney Springs, we were at the far end, the marketplace end.
Yep.
And there just wasn't, we were looking, there was no cars coming up. So I went on, I was like, download the Lyft app and do it all. By the time I'd done all that, we got a Lyft XL really quickly, and he turned up, and it was so efficient. I was surprised, and pleasantly surprised as to how good it was.
One thing I did notice about Uber, actually, is when I was looking at the bill afterwards, there is a venue surcharge for picking up at Universal, which is, I think, like $6 to $8 or something like that. It's not a lot. And I thought you might be able to get out of that if you walked a little bit further out, but then I cannot imagine having the energy after a theme park day to
I suppose you could walk to the
hotel,
the Hard Rock Hotel, maybe, and get a pickup there.
Yeah,
maybe.
That's a good point, actually.
That's what I tend to do. Yeah. That's what we tend to do at Epcot, is rather than going to the front entrance of Epcot, get dropped off at the beach club or picked up at the beach club or the boardwalk.
We've done it with Hollywood Studios. A few years ago, remember when Hollywood Studios was having it was a mess of a construction site with the car park, and it's like we'd booked one, we couldn't work out where the actual pickup point was, so it was like, okay, we cancelled it because we couldn't find where it was. Walked to the boardwalk, and just on the way we just gone. By the time we walked to the boardwalk, there was Uber waiting for us.
Yeah, that's it. You
and
definitely use the hotels.
Yeah,
you can use the resort hotels that way.
I've often thought, recently I've been thinking about, if I was staying off-site, I would probably go from one of the parks to the nearest resort, like Contemporary Polynesian, and go and have a coffee and roam around before ordering the Uber to kind of let those crowds thin out a little bit.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's definitely a shout. So let's talk about food, because that's what we do here at the Great British Mickey Waffle a lot. What was the best thing you ate, and which was the best restaurant you went to? Now, you mentioned somewhere earlier that I would, like, my chin hit the floor when you mentioned it, but is there anywhere else that you ate other than House of Blues that was excellent?
That was excellent. I feel like it's going to be a little bit basic if I say the All Stars food court, but I really enjoyed it.
No, not at all. Do you know what? Nobody ever says that, and I think I'm intrigued to know what sort of. Is it a huge, great big span of food that was available? Because I've obviously been.
There is a lot there, but it's pretty much what you would expect to be there for the most part. They do the pizzas, the margherita and pepperoni, and don't ever order those. They are horrible. That is the one thing that I will say. Like, you can taste the acid in it as you eat it. It is not a nice experience.
It's like pizza
and
Rizzo.
Gaviscon on the side.
Yeah, like, you need it. You really need that chaser. One of the things that really impressed me is that they make all of their burgers to order. So it can result in a little bit of a queue, but it's worth waiting. It's fresh. I know Disney burgers get criticised quite a lot, but I really liked it, actually. It was really good. For breakfast, the Mickey waffles were amazing too. They tasted very fresh, really light.
Excellent. I don't think anyone has said those food courts before, so, you're being original and unique in terms of your answers as well.
I mean, you are talking to the person whose favourite restaurant is probably Chef Mickey's, so that kind of is something to consider.
But you didn't get there this time.
Good on you.
I did not. I traded it in for Tusker House.
Okay. How did that go?
That went really well, actually. I enjoyed it. I wish I'd made a slightly later reservation because it's a heavy breakfast for about 8 o'clock in the morning. Especially when you're the kind of person that I am, where you see a buffet as a challenge. It's not.
Butter chicken, that's me for breakfast.
Yeah, like everything. I'll work through my meals during the 2 hours kind of thing. I'll start with breakfast, I'll go for lunch. I will have a bit of everything, but it makes you feel heavy for the remainder of the day.
Yeah.
But it's good value.
Yeah.
It is. And the characters. I would think about character meals in terms of the amount of time saved from meeting characters if I'd waited for those characters.
Yeah.
And I think, oh, well, $50. You'd have probably lost 4 hours of your holiday if you waited in queues for all of those characters.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a strategy we've used in terms of princess meet and greets when Millie was younger. It was like, Akashis, I'll just pay it, because it means that I don't have to stand in any queues to meet any princesses for the rest of the trip. So we'll do it on day 2 and knock it out of the park, and then we're done.
But it's one of the ways that Disney has been really clever in that they train people to think that way, because I didn't realise till about midway through the trip that I was thinking that way about Disney Genie Plus now too. I'd said that I was only going to buy it like 1 day for each park at the most.
Yeah.
But then you look at it and you think, ooh, for $12, for $15 or $20 each, that we're going to walk on that ride rather than waiting 120 minutes. And it feels like really good value.
Did you use Genie Plus a lot then?
Oh, yes. I tried not to use it for 1 day, and I think part of the problem was this was the day after Universal.
Okay.
So I hit really lucky with my day at Universal. I didn't wait longer than 20 minutes for anything, including Velocicoaster. On the Hulk in 15 minutes. The next day was at Epcot, and it was incredibly busy. I'm talking 40 minutes for Journey into Imagination, 40 minutes for Spaceship Earth.
Yeah.
And I just thought it kind of made me think at the time, I'm not going to have fun here unless I get Genie Plus.
Yeah.
Unless I can cut those queues.
Yeah.
Yeah, that conditioning to
exactly.
need to buy it. So let's go back to Universal, because I want to talk a bit more about that. And so this was your first trip ever. What was you said that you didn't really know what you were getting into, and you didn't really know, the layout and stuff like that. What was your first impression, having been at Walt Disney World, when you got into Universal? What did you think?
When I first went in, obviously you go through City Walk before you enter the park. The first thing I thought is, 21-year-old me would have probably loved it here. Like, I think I could have had so much fun here, and it would have been my thing. It seems like I feel like that would really come alive at night on City Walk. I went into studios first. That was what we did on day one. And do you know when you're a little bit cautious? You're like, okay, it seems kind of like Hollywood seems when you first walk in there. And then I went into Rip Ride Rocket, because that's just right there as you go in, kind of thing. To the left, it's kind of jumps out from the street. And I had never been on a big coaster before, even. Like Everest. Everest is the height of what I had done before now. I had never ridden Tower of Terror because that was a bit too much for me.
Wonderful.
I had not
You went for
done
Rip
that.
Ride Rocket.
And then I went with Rip Ride Rocket.
Oh.
And I came off and I thought I needed like a neck brace, like, you know, like one of the people on those adverts you see for those injury lawyer claims. And
Have you been injured by a roller coaster?
yeah, like, I didn't realise when they tell you to kind of brace yourself against the back of the seat, they really mean that. Like, it's not something that they're saying to kind of build up any suspect, like, keep yourself, like, and it's really hard to do on that ride, actually, because it peels you out of that seat.
Yeah.
But the more I walked around, the more I really enjoyed it, and the more I really liked the short queues compared to Disney.
Were you able to make use of like the single rider queues and things like that?
No, we didn't even need to do that.
Did you not need to do that?
Literally,
That's amazing.
We literally walked, the second day we literally walked onto the Hulk. Like, we walked right the way through the queue until we were at the very top and near, like, the the team member entrance before we hit any kind of queue. The only ride that we didn't actually manage to do, because there was quite a big queue on predominantly, is, I think it's the Hagrid.
Yeah, the Christmas adventure.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
We didn't manage to do that one either.
Yeah.
Did not manage to, but that is definitely on the to-do list for next time.
Yeah.
So which other rides at Universal did you really rate? Because I'll ask you the questions we were asked by my cousin is a massive Universal fan, and she's got an annual pass. She has top scored on Men in Black a million times. She's got the 99999 on Men in Black, and she knows all the secrets. So she was teaching us the secrets as we go around. But the question she asked us: which ride did you really enjoy? Which ride would you not do again? Which ride would you choose to do over and over, repeatedly? And which ride surprised you? So those are the 4 questions around Universal.
The ride that surprised me, I'll go with first, and it's only really surprised me because I'd never seen the show, so I didn't know what to expect, and that is The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon.
The Jimmy Fallon ride?
Yeah.
That's the one that I said as well. It's incredible.
Like, I did not know what to expect from that. I didn't think it, for all it's called Race Through New York, so it's literally in the song title, I didn't think it would take you as many places as it did take you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That is so good.
Really good.
It's an amazing attraction.
It is. It's so much fun. And again, it's... actually, the best thing about that attraction is probably the queue while you're waiting to go in, and they have that act singing. That was so good. And that is one of the things, like, super impressed with Universal overall. One of the things I think they do a lot better than Disney is keep you immersed in the queue. So time is passing, and you probably stood there for quite a long time, but you don't realise it because things are going on around you. Whereas some Disney queues are absolutely fantastic, and others are a queue.
Yes.
A queue, it's somewhere you're waiting. Right, I would do it over and over again. It probably would have been Hagrid's had I done that, but since it's not Escape from Gringotts, was very cool. At first, I kind of thought it's a Harry Potter version of Flights of Passage, but without the smells. And I really enjoyed it. I love Flights of Passage. I loved Escape from Gringotts.
Yeah.
What was the other category?
Your favourite and the one that you were disappointed. Did I say disappointed by? Yeah.
So my favourite was probably the Hulk. And I didn't think I'd say that. I thought I was going to hate those big, massive coasters, but I loved that. It probably would have been Velocicoaster had Velocicoaster had the over-the-shoulder.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
like,
said the same.
Yeah.
right.
Because
yeah, you feel
feel
like
really
you're going to
vulnerable,
fall out,
don't you?
literally.
Right.
Especially when it like does that corkscrew
Yeah,
over the
and you're on
water.
it.
Oh God, I
Yeah.
thought I was.
the
Luckily,
heartline corkscrew.
yeah,
and you just-
exactly.
I said, do you know what? I've had conversation. I don't know anyone that has ridden Velocicoaster that I know, and I've spoken to my cousin, her husband. I've spoken to Zach, nice guy Zach Brown. We rode it. Morgan and I did it with Nikki, and we all said the same thing. That had you had a shoulder harness, and this, the harness that is there comes over your shoulders, but it only is a lap. It's a lap securing harness, and it is, it feels very secure when you're going in a straight line. The minute you go upside down, all of a sudden the airtime is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And my backside was not on the seat for probably 70% of the attraction. And I didn't like that.
No.
Even though it was really tight. It
Yeah.
wasn't tight enough. And had I had something over my shoulders, I think I would have gone over and over again. I would have ridden it multiple times. But for me, once was sufficient, because I was like, no, I actually didn't feel very secure. Now, I get it. Some people love that.
Yeah.
They like that slightly on edge feeling, and that's presumably how it's been designed. But I'm looking at you, Sean, and you are nodding away with me, thinking, I agree.
Because I love this. I love those big thrill coasters now, which I didn't think
Yeah.
I'd say. But I also love not thinking that I'm moments away from coming flying out of it.
I'm not moments from death
Yeah,
today.
exactly. And the only 2 times that I can think of that I thought I was close to death was on that coaster and on that skyliner when it goes over the chun 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 chun
Yeah.
kind of part when it's going through one of those
Oh,
poles.
yeah.
And I'm just looking around going, is this on purpose? Like, I don't like
Yeah.
feeling like things could be going wrong and not knowing that they are.
Did you do the mummy?
I did not, and I
Okay.
didn't even notice it when I was walking past. Right, I was disappointed in, and I wasn't really disappointed, I just think it could have been better, was The Simpsons.
Yeah. I reckon.
It's an old ride now.
Yeah.
It's a really old
Yeah.
ride.
It shows.
And actually, it is the same ride technology as Back to the Future. It's just changed the screen. I do find the pre-show quite funny though.
Yeah.
The old itchy and scratchy moment, and
Yeah.
it's so subversive. But and I love all the. I'm not going to say anti-Disney, but the poking fun at Disney references at
Yeah.
the queue line in the pre-show and in
It is,
the
it's
in the
funny,
ride
yeah.
itself. That's very, very funny.
The attraction itself is actually really good. It is just blatantly obvious that like the visuals could do with an upgrade while you ride it.
I'd agree with. Yeah.
Is there anything else that was a standout for you at Universal?
Mainly the queues being so small is always amazing. Also, what I will say is the team members were really good and really friendly, and they just, everyone seemed happy, and I really enjoyed that. Again, it's one of those things where you hear kind of about Universal that it doesn't have the same heart as Disney, and that's true in some places, but on general, the team members I thought were really good.
That's a really good way of actually summing up where Universal is, and I think that's certainly the message that we keep getting. As much as we are very much Disney centric, but Universal, let it be known, are catching up, and actually they are. That little bit with the staff members that they have are really going that extra mile, and that comes across so many times from an awful lot of people. It's well worth sharing the word.
I have to say, John, Sean and I have had a conversation about Universal since he's come back.
Yeah.
And I was trying to think of the way to describe it, because we had so much fun at Universal. And bearing in mind, we hadn't been for 10 years. Because Millie was last time, we looked back at photos and stuff, and last time I went, Millie was in a pushchair.
Yeah.
And she's nearly 11. So we were, it's a long time since we've been. Morgan obviously he'd resisted big coasters until this trip. I mean, really resisted. He still won't do Everest, but you know, that's a whole other story. But he embraced like Velocicoaster. He loved the Hulk.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Forbidden Journey, I think we rode in 2 days. We did it 7 times. I still think Forbidden Journey for me is one of the best attractions. It's so great in terms of that 3D, but then the visuals and then the whole thing. And Millie loved it. And I think that for me, there's something about Universal which kind of goes, I don't really care. And I said to Sean, it's like the slightly badly behaved younger brother of Walt Disney World. I said it's like the Prince Harry of theme parks in terms of
I like that.
It's slightly badly behaved. It doesn't really care, nor does it matter. And that's okay.
It just doesn't fit totally, but it's you know
and it is what it is.
I was going to say the one thing I thought was really missing at Universal was any kind of nighttime show.
Okay.
Like any kind of fireworks show or anything like that. Unless I'm really mistaken, and you guys are going to tell me now that there is one, and I just never made
there isn't.
When we were there last year, there was a Universal, there was a cinematic spectacular, but it's not very well advertised. And it's a bit like I know they do the seasonal one on the castle, on the Hogwarts castle.
I think it depends on the time of year, Ben.
Yeah.
Because when we were there, the parks, we were on really quiet days in August, and the parks shut at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
And it was the same for when we were there.
It's like, okay, you're closing, fine.
Yeah.
Obviously, they have Halloween Horror Nights at this time of year, so they kind of close early for that.
That's preparing for that. And I wonder whether August they're starting to set all of that up. When we were there last year, we were there in June. Early June. So it's probably something, a seasonal sort of thing. But it was good, but nothing on the patch of Disney.
Yeah. Would you do Halloween Horror Nights, Sean?
We were very close to buying tickets, just like
really
on there. Then I was incredibly relieved that I didn't when I saw the reviews come out for it the following day.
It's hardcore. You have to be pretty resilient, I think.
But I would
me.
See, I would love to do it because I would love to just see everything lit up differently at night. I think that would be cool. I really wanted to do the Diagon Alley portion with the Death Eaters. I thought that would have been amazing.
Yeah. That would have been very
See, if
cool.
I could just skip the rest of Halloween Horror Nights and just do that would be what I would...
Circumvent the people with chainsaws just to get back to Diagon Alley. That would be great.
What I'd do, I'd go in through Islands of Adventure, do sort of Hogsmeade, they could have that bit open, and you could get the Hogwarts Express, and then go and do Diagon Alley.
You wish. That's not how it works.
No.
Did you do Minion, the new Minion Blasters attraction?
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
Is that
the one where you stand up?
Yeah, right. Where's the seat? Like, I really...
It's a long attraction.
It is. Like, I really expected a seat at all. I thought it was going to be like Midway Mania kind of thing, and that you'd sit down and it said hold the app up to kind of sink in. That didn't work for me either for some reason. To be fair, it could be because my phone's old and should have probably went out years ago. But I just thought we're missing seats. Having said that, really fun actually just to kind of breeze through. Just probably better off doing it early in the morning before you've got the sore feet.
I think we did it 2 or 3 times, and it takes a little bit of practice to work out what on earth is going going on. So I think
you're meant
that
to shoot at.
Like
I was like,
and how you get points. You know, if you pay attention in the queue, it tells you apparently. But we were too busy chatting.
Who pays attention in the queue?
Exactly. Oh,
I've learned that trick from my first trip to ignore the stuff in the queue, especially when it's like a warning saying, "Oh, if you have health things, I'll avoid this ride." It's like if I read that, I won't ride anything.
This is it. This is it.
I think they need to realise that nobody goes on holiday or vacation to Orlando to read instructions. Like it's not on anybody's to-do list.
No. Oh, I'm really glad you had a good time at Universal. And I agree with you that the Jimmy Fallon ride is. Did you say you've never seen the Jimmy Fallon show?
I'd seen like clips on Instagram and things when you're scrolling through.
Go and watch it because
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Did you
and
both do Fast and Furious?
No, didn't.
Oh,
And I've heard amazing
That's
things
good.
about it.
oh
And it's the Bourne shows, the Bourne ride. I
I've
didn't
heard
do
good things
either.
about the Bourne Spectacular, but the Fast and Furious I would skip. It doesn't.
Okay.
Right.
It's not one that the pre-show is good, but I would happily just walk in, do the pre-show, and then leave.
Okay. I still rate the Spider-Man ride.
Yeah.
I still
love
think that
the Spider-Man
for
ride
me,
so
Yeah.
much.
out of that portfolio of attractions, which is the movement, the screen, the screen, those very classic Universal style attractions. For me, I still think that Spider-Man is probably the one that I like the most. I think it's the original in terms of that mode of attraction.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It's pretty hardcore in terms of it throws you about. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Especially
There's
considering-
water. There's
Oh, it's
just
amazing.
Right.
so
And
much
you could
happening.
be sat next to somebody you don't know as well.
There are always positives.
Yeah.
I love the Spider-Man, and I think we did it 3 or 4 times, and every time I was like, this is such a great ride, and you know, the Stan Lee cameos and all of that stuff. Compared to maybe Transformers, which is great, but
It's the same ride system. It's just a different story.
I just think that the Spider-Man ride is so
Yeah.
classic. And if you're a Marvel fan and you like Spidey and all
I
of that
love
stuff,
that ride so much. And what
So
was
good.
really cool about that ride actually is the first time I went around, it went around fine, perfect. On the second day, when we went back, I went on again. And right at the very last, like the final end of the ride, we lost audio. And it was just in silence.
Oh,
And it was just for the very last part, but we sealed through. And the lady, the team member, said, if you guys want to ride again, just go straight through and go right back on again. And I just thought, oh, Disney would have
thank you very
charged.
much.
Yeah, Disney would have charged an extra $20 for that.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. So, when you were there, Sean, I got the feeling it was quite warm.
Yeah.
What were your strategies for beating the heat and beating the crowds? You've obviously mentioned that some of the days it wasn't busy, but when it was busy, how did you manage to stay cool and avoid people?
So it was really random actually. So for the first week, it was hot all the way through, actually. In terms of temperature, it was hot. And I went in there, like, incredibly arrogant. Like, I've been in September so many times. I've been in the height of August. This is not going to be a problem whatsoever. Then I got there, and literally by the time we got to the coach, actually the transfer from Melbourne to... we were both melting, and I don't know if it's because I thought it was because I was out of practice at first, but I was sat there with this random lady at Disney Springs, and I said, is it normally this hot in September? And she said, no, it's like aggressive this year, so it feels a lot hotter than it normally does. And I thought, thank God it's not just that I'm getting old and can't deal with the heat anymore. It is actually hot. So those midday breaks were really helpful. In fact, we kind of went a step further this time, and we just did mornings for a lot of days and then evenings for a lot of days, and we didn't spend from rope drop to fireworks at the park. We tried for the first day and we literally couldn't cope with it. It's the first time ever that on day one when I went to Magic Kingdom, I did not stay for the fireworks just because I literally couldn't. Having said that, I really enjoyed going back to the hotel and just spending time chilled out in the evening. I think I might have messaged you while I was there, Claire, actually, and said, I cannot believe I haven't done fireworks yet, and I'm on day 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. Move on. Let's not talk about fireworks.
Yeah, Claire, you went for so many weeks and hasn't seen.
I was there for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Not once. Not once did we see Happily Ever After.
And I think you told me that in the chat and all, that debate about like blocking you for a moment. And I thought,
Yeah. Thanks very much. It will be resolved in a few weeks' time. I've been told there is no way we're not being there. Like, Anna and I are only there for like 5 nights, and I've been told that's it.
Yeah.
We're not leaving until we've done it. So you know what, it will happen.
That's an excuse to extend the trip.
Yeah, we're just working out the best way to do it, where we can have a cocktail at the same time.
There you go.
Anna's got a plan, I believe.
Okay.
Like, what about Trader Sam's and the monorail right over just before? Yeah,
That's the
a
plan.
plan.
I think from the beach,
Yeah.
either from the Tiki Terrace or from the beach with a Nautilus each, maybe. That might be the beach, or an Oa. I think is possibly a.
How nice, by the way, is the outdoor seating area at Trader Sam's? I don't know.
It's amazing.
Like with the performer there, that was fantastic.
Yeah, did they have the singer with the ukulele playing and with
totally.
the waterfall? It's beautiful, isn't it? It's a really lovely evening, actually, because people always go, gotta get into Trader Sam's. And actually, Trader Sam's is really small. And yes, it's fun because you get shot with water pistols and there's things that happen and things explode. But actually, if you want a nice chilled evening, the Tiki Terrace outside, you can get a little bit of food, you can get a few snacks from, what's the
Captain Cook's.
Captain Cook's. You can go and get a few little snackettes, bring them out, sit on the Tiki Terrace. The guys play, or the woman's playing the little ukulele. It's such a beautiful evening. If you've got a nice clear evening, it's incredible out there.
You've got this all sorted, haven't
absolutely.
you?
It is
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Totally.
Beautiful.
What was, and this is going to be really hard to answer, what was the best attraction you experienced
Oh.
and why?
Doesn't like there's no way of answering that question.
I was trying to think of a different way of asking it that wasn't like so subjective and difficult, but you know what, I don't care. This is
My favourite probably for a good long time will be Flights of Passage. I just love Flights of Passage. And I know it's the answer that everyone goes to, so it feels like a overdone answer. What I really liked on this trip, though, was being able to do Soaring over California again. And having...
I can't wait for that. We've
those
never done
orange
that
rolls.
version.
Oh, 3
Is
times
that the
I
moment
did
where
it.
you said sniff here?
Yeah, literally, like, digging them in the ribs.
Inhale.
Deep breaths, get a lungful. But, like, 3 times I did that attraction and, like, it only went live about 2 days before I came home.
Perfect.
But that was good timing. I was super impressed with myself, somehow knowing that was going to happen.
So when you do soaring, do you take your shoes and socks off?
No.
See?
I've never...
We've got a friend of the show who says...
sliders, I would.
Right. Yeah, because you're worried you're going to lose them. But I've got a
because
friend...
I should take them off.
Yeah, so we've got a friend of the show who says that even if you're wearing trainers and socks, you should take them off when you're riding on soaring. And I was just like, I don't want to inhale and smell people's feet.
No.
I want to inhale and smell the orange groves or whatever.
That smell should belong in like France.
Like, it would be okay for me.
The raclette.
What about the person sat below me who's got my,
I'm with you.
Sweaty,
I just hope
like,
you're on the bottom row.
Yeah.
sweaty dogs after a hard day and I'm like hanging over the bed.
Yeah.
That would not be pleasant for anyone other
No,
than
I don't
myself.
think you would either.
Right.
It's just not right, that.
I agree, but I've been told I'm wrong so many times.
Yes.
No, definitely not.
Did you manage to do any of the food booths at Food and Wine?
Yeah, I did. Oh God, which ones was it though? I did Canada for the cheddar soup because you've got to get cheddar soup whenever I'm there. Do you mean? We did now it was random. It was like this lemon cello kind of drink from one of the podiums, and I can't remember which one it was. And it's not where you would expect it to be. It was like somewhere around Japan kind of thing.
Okay.
Really refreshing, really good, really like nice on those hot nights. Just because the sun's gone down doesn't mean you can't feel her anymore. Did a couple of different drinks around the pavilion and did the fry flight that everybody is doing. Really enjoyed the fry flight.
Did you? What did you think of like the sweet potato fried casserole thing that's like
those.
marshmallows? And...
Yeah, I loved them so much. My other half could not stomach them whatsoever.
I was
Like,
gonna say,
really?
it's not something that I think I'd pair together.
Yeah.
and to be fair, I
You-
can't remember if he actually tried them. I think he might have just said no straight away and not went near. I
The
really
salt and vinegar
enjoyed
ones are
those.
good. They're really good.
Yeah, they were good. Everything. Like, I enjoyed every fry on that flight.
I think the salt and vinegar ones are great if you've had a couple of drinks. It's like that moment where you like, I need something salty to go with the fact that I've had a couple of drinks, and so
Yeah.
those salt and vinegar fries are really good.
So good. Not worth the queue that can be there for them sometimes.
Okay.
Towards the end of the trip, it got insanely busy for some reason, and I've got no idea
Wow.
why. I'm not sure if it's because annual pass holder previews for Moana had started towards the end of the
could be.
trip.
Yeah, maybe.
But it got incredibly busy, and that's when the queue for that podium for the flat fries just went on and on. It looked like, it was definitely longer than the ride for the Hulk at Universal. It was
Wow.
crazy long.
Yeah.
One of the most shocking things for me about Epcot this trip, actually, was that Club Cool didn't seem to have sticky floors.
You're obviously there at a very different time to me.
It's like they just cleaned
Like,
it, and it's
They
yeah.
must have done, but it was
Yeah.
good. I tried to do that. Do you know when you do that thing where you try and convince the person you're with, like, oh, this is really
Beverly's
gorgeous.
amazing.
Beverly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just looked at my face when I did it, and he went, no, it's
No.
not.
Do you think it would taste better if you had a bit of gin to it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything
Oh.
tastes better when you add gin
Yeah,
to it.
true.
That's a stupid question, Ben.
It's the only way to make the Beverly palatable.
It couldn't make it any worse.
So it's a waste of good gin, in fact.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
Yeah. Oh, fabulous.
Oh, it sounds like you had an amazing trip.
It was
Sounds like you
amazing.
had just like
Fantastic.
non-stop from start to finish. Were there any specific special moments that you remember?
So I'll go back to the resort actually, because I think, as you guys said earlier on, obviously it is a lot less expensive than some other resorts, and you can get some really good deals there too. For me though, as a big 90s kid, and as somebody who loves the nostalgia of the 90s, all of those value resorts are very 90s. They have a 90s feel about them when you're walking around them. It's very Disney Channel 90s. And if you love that kind of era, really look into it. Even just sit on YouTube and look at some of the walk around videos that you'll find, because you might be surprised at how much they win you over. The cast at those resorts and all, and I know the cast at all resorts are amazing, but I saw some amazing moments for cast members and guests at All Star Music. There was a guy in the gift shop, and I was being served by him, and this little girl came up and she said, "It's my first trip to Disney, can you tell me some facts?" And he finished serving and went around and went on his knees beside her and started talking to her about how it was opened back in 1971, and it was,
Oh,
this girl was like making notes in a little pad.
oh
Oh,
wow.
lovely.
Then he
It's incredible.
charged her $40 for the pad. But it was like it was like a super sweet moment. It was so sweet, and
Oh,
literally
wow.
the resort was full of those cast members. It was all, it won me over big style.
Yeah.
Not enough to stay there next time, but it won me over big style.
Having had a bit of a break before you went back, did it live up to your expectations?
Oh, totally. Massively. I would say by the time it got to the end of the trip, I was exhausted, but I think it's weird. You're a mix of exhausted, but also really not wanting to have energy yet. You don't want to come back and get back to normality. I feel like you have conflicting feelings. You also get excited to start planning the next one before you leave, which is always good.
Yeah. I think Ben, John, we've probably all been in the same position where you've been on the plane. Like, I'll just get the
yeah.
Wi-Fi and I'll get the plane
Yeah.
Wi-Fi on the plane.
Yeah.
And they're like searching up trips on the way home on the
Yeah.
plane. It's like
We once upgraded our tickets to annual passes to make sure that we could then, when we get home, just go, we're going to go and book that trip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that brings me to a really good point actually. And this is going to be very much for UK listeners. And I know you guys have listeners like all over the place. But TUI, and I did not realise this till I was getting on the plane, they do not do Wi-Fi on the planes.
No.
You cannot get that. It just does not happen. So I really wanted to be searching for holidays on that flight home. It couldn't be.
Enforced 9 hours disconnect.
Literally, and yeah, like the flight out, I don't think it's ever lasted 9 hours for me, but this lasted 9 hours. And it was 9 long hours without Wi-Fi.
Oh.
And then it was about 2 hour, like almost a 2 hour transfer from Melbourne. For me personally, it was really good because it saved the 3 or 4 hour train journey from Manchester to Newcastle. If you have that option though, I'd probably rather go for Orlando International.
Yeah.
It's just easier.
Yeah. What was the security and immigration experience at Melbourne like?
So I had the worst luck. Security was fine, really fast, got through it, really good. But all I'd seen on Facebook is that people had literally got from the plane to their shuttle within 30 minutes. They must have, like, I've got no idea where my case was on that plane, but it must have been somewhere unexpected because literally me and my other half were just stood there. Everybody else had gone.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Just us two on our own with no cases.
The anxiety rising.
Oh,
Where's my stuff?
It's your worst
I
nightmare.
was like, we've done everything. Yeah, I thought we've done everything properly. Half of my stuff's in your case. Half of your stuff's
Just
in
one
my
case needs to come. We'll deal with one.
Oh.
Yeah.
We even wrapped it up because I think I'd heard one of you guys mention to cover everything up with something waterproof. We've done that. And both of them have gone. Then they eventually came through. But it just took so long getting... Security was really fast. It was the baggage claim. Because at Melbourne, baggage claims after security.
Yeah.
I just thought,
That's
you know
nothing
what?
worse, is it?
No.
It's kind of the guilt also when you look at that shuttle that you know is for you with everyone else on that plane. Just waiting.
You know what? A little bit of Schadenfreude there. Also, it's quite easy.
And you can actually see them in Melbourne because it's that close. You can see them through the window.
So that
I'm looking through.
It's me you're waiting for.
Hi, everybody.
The daggers are coming through the window at you.
Why aren't we leaving?
It's like the transfer off when you're picking up from other resorts. We had arrangements, so they picked up at All Star Music. Then they went out to somewhere called, I think it's the Courtyard or something like that. Like a Marriott hotel, I think. And then back into Disney to pick up a Coronado. So the driver was real, he did like a whole spiel about it seems like you guys were just here, that sort of thing. But then you sit there at Coronado and it was all the All-Stars crew. And this guy just nudged me from beside and I'd seen him around. He went, we should just give this person the most horrific looks for dragging us back here to the Coronado Springs. And it was literally one little elderly couple that kind of tunneled off.
The daggers.
Yeah, totally. It was just so much fun. Everything, like every part of it was amazing. You worry that you've built it up in your head. I don't know if you guys do the same when you've got a long gap between
100%.
trips. You kind of start to worry that you're building it up so much in your head that it's not going to live up. It always lives up, and it really surpasses the expectation.
Amazing. Ben, John, have you got anything else you want to ask Sean?
I was just going to... That last...
I don't know.
That last line
when
there.
is your next trip? Have you booked it?
Oh, yeah.
Have you booked it yet?
So I keep dropping hints really strongly. My other half, his Disney World is South Africa. He loves South Africa, and I think I might have made an agreement at some point that we'll do Disney this year and South Africa next year.
Yeah.
But,
Was that when you were sitting on the tiki terrace after a couple of Nautilus?
See, probably not. It was probably when I was sat in the living room after a couple of fake Nautilus, because I don't think I would have made that agreement once I was back in the Magic, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of secretly hoping that he's forgot about that now, and I keep sending him screenshots of deals going, oh, look at this, endless summer for 1,200 next year, like, silly not to, isn't it?
There's some bargains to be had there
I'd
as well.
highly rate Endless Summer.
Yeah.
We're staying at Universal on a budget.
Yeah.
Endless Summer, we did the 4 nights there last year.
You had a
Incredible.
bargain, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I think it was £329 for 4 nights, and they upgraded us to the 2-bedroom.
Nice. It was so nice to have that separate like area.
Yeah.
So like I am an early riser, my other half not so much, and I think if I like, he probably finds it sweet at first, but I'm sure by day 11 when I'm up at like 6 a.m. like ruffling around, that's got away thin.
Coffee on.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
I'm a smoker, but like an electronic smoker. So sneaking out of the room at like 7:15, and there's noise when I come back in the room and he's not sure who it is. Probably quite scary, actually. That's a good note, actually. And it's a note for any smokers that might listen, but they've changed the smoking area in Magic Kingdom. So it's no longer in the middle of the buses, so people don't have to walk through that anymore. Where it is now is halfway along the walkway to Grand Floridian.
Oh, okay.
So, most people don't need to walk through, but the people that do need to walk through are staying at the Grand Floridian.
And then the people that really enjoy the exercise.
Totally. Not just that, but like second-hand cigarette smoke is like just the smell that we all want to smell.
The premium smell of Disney.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. It's like popcorn and Marlboro Gold.
That's the
wonderful,
smell.
wonderful.
Oh my goodness, Sean! I've just seen how long we've been talking.
Yeah.
The time is like whizzed by.
Yeah.
I can't believe how quickly
been
it's
done,
gone.
Right.
I reckon we could probably keep talking for hours about this, and I know we've had lots of conversations by message and stuff. And I really think that it's been so interesting to hear about your trip back, and the fact that actually your recommendation for the hotel, the fact that it was good compared to where you stayed before, and I'm a little bit closer to tempted to going to a value.
Yeah.
I have to say, the next 2 trips that I've got booked, I'm staying at a moderate. I am staying at Coronado at Gran Destino for December, and then when I go next year as well. So, I'm slowly getting
Claire.
down
You're
that.
slumming it.
No, I'm staying in the tower. Oh no, I'm not, because I'm staying in the tower.
It's
But
still moderate.
I'm not.
It's still
It's a
moderate.
moderate. It's a moderate. It's not a deluxe. It's a moderate.
It feels like a deluxe though. When
Oh,
you're
it
at the
does.
Grand
Yeah,
Destino.
okay.
Yeah.
Just Coronado
It's a
is
deluxe
forward.
at moderate prices.
That is a really good point, actually, that I wanted to mention. I know we're wrapping up, so I'm going to make it fast.
No,
One of
it's
the
fine.
things I missed so much was not having a gym, and it's something to consider. Along with sit-down restaurants, you don't have that sort of thing there. It's also something that you do get at equivalent, like at Endless Summer, you do have a gym there. At the Rose Inn on iDrive, you have a gym there. Like, it's one of the
Presumably
things.
it's because it's a convention resort that you do. People are potentially there for conventions for a little bit longer, potentially, that you get a gym. But Coronado does, and then some of the deluxe do.
I think they do at all Deluxes, I believe.
Okay.
All Deluxes have gyms, and Coronado, it's like, because it is convention.
Okay.
Previously, people could get day passes at the Swan and Dolphin also. You can't do that anymore, and it's one of the areas that I'm surprised Disney hasn't cottoned on to, that they could
Yeah.
kind of open
maybe so.
somewhere, like a communal one for the old stars.
I have this vision of, like, that Sport Goofy movie where he's doing like all the running and all that. They could do something
like,
really cool
so
with
much.
that in the All Stars, couldn't they?
So much.
That'll
They
be
could have
good.
like a really good outdoor
Even
trail with like the bunny
that's what I
hops and the
thought. Like
Yeah.
literally an outdoor kind of thing on the jogging trail, because I think there's a jogging trail
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
yeah.
I've got this
That'd be
music
really fun.
from the Goofy movie just playing constantly, like eye
Yeah,
to eye.
but you could have all the like the log run and all of that. All the bench stuff that you have as outdoor stuff. That would be really cool.
It would.
There, like, dear Mr. Iger.
Yeah.
Let's write to him.
I think we should.
Missing a trick.
Yeah. In terms of the holiday, like the hotel category, I think like what you guys said before is it depends what kind of holiday you're on also. So I was there during Hurricane Irma and it closed, literally you were in lockdown for 2 days. For those 2 days I was really, really happy that I was in the boardwalk kind of thing, and I probably would not have been as happy in All-Star music for those 2 days being locked inside the room. It just depends. If you're going to spend longer around the resort, I would definitely spend the extra money, maybe.
That is amazing. And do you know what? As I said, I am at some point going to have a walk around your value resort.
You won't regret it. Do it later.
I'll go visit
I was
the
going
food
to
court,
say, Clay, you either need to go live or you need to record it because we need proof.
And do it.
Okay, at some point.
Late on, but like not totally late. So not when people are coming back from after fireworks.
Like 8, 9 o'clock at night, something like that.
Go a little earlier. Yeah, like 8. 8's a good time. Before people are like, the influx is there. But when it's like kind of the sun setting a little bit.
That sounds nice.
The little party kind of ish atmosphere.
The sunset over the bongos and the maracas.
Yeah,
That's what we need.
And no, but what is cool? Oh God, I keep talking. You keep making me talk. But,
No, it's fine.
It's what.
This is what happens.
It's what we do, Sean. It's what we do.
It is. I can't stop. It's the little things like country fair at the back of the resort. They have like street lights, but the flicker as if it's actual candles and things like
really?
that.
Wow.
Like they've put a
That's
lot of
incredible.
thought into it.
Yeah. The theming is just as strong in the value resorts. It's just a different kind of theming.
I would say a lot stronger in a lot of ways and a lot bolder, definitely.
Bold choice.
It's a bold resort.
Oh my goodness. Sean, we cannot wait to hear when you have booked your next trip, and tell us all about it and where you're staying and what you're doing. Ben and Becca have got their trip in just a couple of weeks, so they're going to take on board everything that you've said. And John, we're waiting to hear when your trip.
Yeah, and Sean as well. I really appreciate everything you've contributed to the show, because actually, for someone who I'm on a similar timescale to you, and going back to that point that you made where when you haven't been for a while, and in your own mind you're kind of questioning, will it be what you always remember it to be? And I think that for me has been the inspiring bit of this show, is the fact that it will be that, and it will be more, and it will be different, and it will be new, and it will be absolutely magical. So thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. And if anyone hasn't checked out Sean's socials, because being as prolific as I am on social media, not, but it was actually a pleasure. Some of the pictures that you actually shared throughout your trip were absolutely amazing. And for me, I got a buzz out of seeing your pictures, simply because it's just like, wow, that is just, you're just having the time of your life, and I love that. So big thank you.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, and I think that for those in the US who need a translation for Sean's accent, then the YouTube subtitles are available. This is what you sound like if you're from the northeast of England. And
it's not what you sound like if you're Scottish, because that's what everyone always says when you're over there.
It's a unique accent, and shames the rest of us. But your laptop held out, which is fantastic.
Really surprised.
I'm very relieved. For those who want to catch up with the other stuff that we do, you can catch us on our socials, or as John mentioned a minute ago, social channels on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X, all at GB Mickey Waffle. Or you can just go to our website, which is gbmickeywaffle.com, which will take you to all of our content, all of our shows, the previous 96 if you haven't listened to them. Go back and start from not the beginning.
No, please don't.
No, apologies now for if you do start from number one.
I would go back. Maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to work out where the best place to drop in would be. Enjoy yourself. Drop in randomly and pick something that you fancy. Backside of Water is a good choice. And we have got some amazing shows coming up. So next month we have got show 98 for the 1st of November. 99. Absolutely, there's room for one more. Of course there is. We've got things in the plan. And show 100, well, watch this space because there will be guest appearances, all sorts of chat that you would not believe would come to the Great British Mickey Waffle, and an awful lot of previous bloopers and moments that probably shouldn't see the light of day again, but I'm certain that Ben will make sure they do. If you haven't listened to the 1st of October show, do go back and get your pumpkins out so that we can enjoy Halloween together. But until then, there is only one thing left to say. Sean, thank you so much for joining us. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you here with us on the show. We look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. And
Waffle on.
Waffle on.
Waffle on.
Waffle on.